In addition to those pre-qualification issues, there are some real benefits for suppliers in forming partnerships with each other. Firstly, consortia may be able to reduce their costs by sharing administrative burdens between those organisations and reduce duplication of support functions. This could result in either an increase in profit margin for the consortia members or a lowering of prices to the customer to give them a more competitive bid. Continuing to look therefore at the wider benefits, partnerships formed for a single contract could lead to longer term relationships between suppliers, each working to their strengths in order to create longer term competitive advantage. In addition, access to and sharing of greater knowledge, and in particular the sharing of intellectual property, may result in increased innovation, either in the short or long term. Obviously, that's a double-edged sword in terms of the potential for you to lose intellectual property to other organisations, but it can be of real benefit when bidding for public sector contracts to show innovative approaches. So we've looked at the potential benefits of partnering, but what are we as public sector purchasers doing to actually help that? Firstly, we have to get our contracting strategies right. I spoke earlier about proportionality, and this is really important. As Gary said this morning, we shouldn't be aggregating our requirements unless this actually shows a clear benefit for the purchasing organisation or organisations. And even when we do so, we should always look at ways in which the contract could be divided into smaller lots in order that smaller suppliers may access those opportunities. Secondly, there's a recognition that, as in other walks of life, finding partners and forming relationships takes time. We need to provide breathing space to suppliers to allow those relationships to take hold. We can do that by providing advance notice of up-and-coming opportunities through prior indicative notices, through OJU and through Public Contracts Scotland, and through our buyer profiles on Public Contracts Scotland's website. We can also help by ensuring there's sufficient timescales built in at both shortlisting and tender stages. We can help suppliers meet each other through forums like this, or more directly by holding supplier briefings relating to a specific contract prior to the commencement of the tender process. This gives valuable time for suppliers to make new contract contacts with each other and arrange further meetings to explore the opportunities for partnering that contract provides. Of course, partnering isn't just about forming consortia bids or joint ventures to work in specific contracts. There are also opportunities for suppliers to explore the potential for mutually beneficial arrangements with others already in contract with a public body. And as already been mentioned this morning, to make that easier, many public sector organisations in Scotland now publish the award details of all their major contracts on the Public Contracts website, and we're encouraging our principal contractors to advertise for subcontract opportunities also through the Public Contracts Scotland website. I've talked a lot about the ways in which partnerships can work to the benefit of SMEs, but clearly it's not easy to form partnerships with others. Most suppliers forming partnerships for the first time will find the process a real challenge to them, requiring a fundamental shift in their thought processes. You'll have to consider how you may deal with that loss of autonomy in terms of delivery of a contract. You may have conflicts of interest that may or may not be apparent at the outset of the arrangement. You'll obviously need to think about that beforehand and how you might deal with those situations. There may be issues of trust, which can only be resolved over time by working together and delivering on your promises to each other. You should also clearly understand what each supplier will gain from the process and set mutual objectives right at the start of partnering with any other organisation. You may also want to establish methods of communication that will be used to exchange and develop ideas and develop intellectual property between the partners in the consortium. So successful partnerships can be challenging, to establish and also to maintain. But I'm clear about one thing, and that's that you shouldn't let those challenges put you off the potential for growth that a successful partnership can deliver. As an example of what it actually can deliver for organisations, this last slide is a resume of a couple of framework agreements that have been let by Procurement Scotland in the last couple of years. The manner in which these opportunities were actually structured, together with the opportunity provided to suppliers to network with each other, made these a great example of how we can encourage suppliers to work together. In addition, Procurement Scotland provided an extended timescale for the tendering processes, allowing suppliers to properly form their joint relationships. The result of this was that 15 consortia won places on those frameworks, with a further 33 SMEs being either part of consortia bids or subcontractors under those arrangements. So I'm sure you'll agree that that represents a really good example of what we can achieve together when the opportunities present themselves. I'd like to round off by saying that I hope the short presentation that I've given has provided you with some food for thought around partnering, and that you may consider partnering as one of the ways in which you can win additional public sector work in future. There's an awful lot more information available on partnering, some of which you can find on the Business Gateway website, which is www.bgateway.com. And it only remains for me to thank you for listening and to wish you all the best in your future tendering activity. Thank you.